Hey, F and true followers, wrestling fans, and members of the YWC JC Styles.
I'm Brian Gracie.
And we are the F and brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com with our TNA Sacrifice review for May 13th, 2012. We're going to get right into it. We've got a lot to talk about. I want to get this done quickly and upload it for you guys so you can start leaving your comments and your feedback on this video.
Exactly. The best thing that you guys can do after watching this video is leave your thoughts. We want to hear your feedback. You get to watch our opinions. We want to hear yours. This is a very special day for me and JC Styles and the entire F&M brand, and especially the channel that you're watching this video on, F and True Wrestling. This is the 2-year anniversary of the channel that started it all. It has now spawned 4 channels, multiple websites, a Facebook presence, multiple Twitter accounts. Please check out all of those. The links will be provided in the description box below, and please also check out the official website of the F&M brand at FightNationWrestling.com, where you can find these results in text format. So we start off the night with the first match. It's a tag team match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. We see Daniels and Kazarian go against Samoa Joe and Magnus, who are the defending TNA Tag Team Champions. What are your thoughts on this match?
Quick thoughts on the match. I thought it was a fantastic tag team match. Great, solid wrestling on both teams. Samoa Joe and Magnus looked to be dominant through the whole match, then kind of fell apart at the last couple of segments of the moments of the match, which led to them losing the TNA Tag Team Championships to Kazarian and Daniels.
Kazarian and Daniels were working as a well-oiled machine, and we've seen Magnus and Joe work as a very well-oiled machine. They were kind of thrown together when they did that wild card tag team tournament several months ago, and since then Magnus and Joe have impressed, and I can't wait to see the rematch between these two teams. Hopefully it'll happen at Slammiversary. It was a good match, don't get me wrong, but like JC said, at the end they just weren't on the same page, and unfortunately, in my opinion, Daniels and Kazarian picked up the win. I really wanted to see Magnus and Samoa Joe retain here, but hopefully it sets up a future match. Then we go into the TNA Knockouts title match. We see Gail Kim, who is the defending Knockouts champion, go one-on-one against the #1 contender, Brooke Tessmacher. Brooke actually picked up the win over the Knockouts champion a few weeks ago on Impact. She won via roll-up. So tonight, it was pretty interesting to see what was going to end up happening here.
Yeah, we saw Miss Tessmacher basically, take it to Gail Kim, and really, it's a little different to see Miss Tessmacher because she's still, learning the ropes of transitioning into a female competitor. If you remember when she was over in WWE, part of the Extreme Expose with Layla and Kelly, she really wasn't a wrestler at that point. So later on in her WWE career, she had just started picking up the ropes. Now she's in TNA and she's still learning the ropes, but she was very good. Unfortunately, the outcome of the match proved...
Exactly. Gail Kim won by whatever means necessary, and at the end of the day, a win is a win, but it's a shame to have had to get it in this fashion. She ended up using the ropes to assist her.
Great ring awareness.
Great ring awareness.
And using her veteran instincts.
Exactly. Could not have said it better. Gail Kim is one of the most polished female competitors ever to step foot in the ring. She is very, very technical in her ability. She's an incredible athlete. She can go a decent length match without getting winded. She doesn't get lazy. And for Miss Tessmacher to be able to step up her game and have such a good match, it was pretty interesting tonight. And like you said, she has learned a lot. She still has a little bit of a way to go, but I really think that she did do good for one of her first major outings on pay-per-view. Then we go into the TNA television title match. We see Devon go against Robbie E and Robbie T. I think my only complaint in this match is it was a little slow.
Yes.
I would have really expected a lot more action. I've seen Robbie E live, and I mean, this guy went against Jay Lethal in the match that I saw. Actually, it was a 3-way dance. Kazarian was also involved. I think he was the X Division champion at the time, if I'm not mistaken. And there was just so much action. Robbie E was just so impressive, and I was really hoping to see that tonight. And I know Devon can really go in the ring. And I don't know, the match wasn't as fluid as I would have hoped, and I don't know, it just wasn't as enjoyable as it could have been. I mean, great competitors all have great ability. I'm not insulting the competitors, it's just the match could have played out a little bit differently, in my opinion.
I definitely agree with you. We see, lo and behold, at the very end, we see Rob Terry go for the quick pin. Then that leads to a little of a dispute between Robbie E and Terry. This also spills out, which allowed Devon to get the roll-up on Big Terry. Big Rob, and picked up the win and successfully retained his TNA television championship.
That is quite correct. Then we go into Anderson versus Hardy. I mean, this is a pretty interesting match. We've seen Anderson and Hardy be a tag team, the charismatic assholes, or Enigmatic assholes,
yes.
excuse me. We've seen him be a tag team, then we've seen him on opposite sides, then we've seen Anderson join the Immortal faction, and then we've seen him against Immortal and Hardy. I mean, we've seen so much different things happen between these two guys, and we've actually seen a lot of face and heel turns with Mr. Anderson alone, so it's kind of hard to tell even what side he's on now. But this was a really interesting match. There was a lot of back and forth action, I do have to say. I really anticipated Jeff Hardy picking up the win here. I like that Anderson got the win. I think it furthers his build to main event status again. Remember, he did take that several-month gap off from TNA Wrestling to deal with some personal issues. And in my opinion, it was a good match. Anderson did pick up the win. What are your thoughts?
I definitely have to say this is probably one of the 3 matches of the night. I definitely enjoyed it. It was definitely great back and forth, great wrestling on both parts. We saw at several points, we saw Jeff Hardy do the mic check and Anderson hit the twist of fate, so it was very, very fitting for this match. Anderson crept in the back door with a roll-up, but at the very last second, Hardy kicked out, which as he kicked out, Earl Hebner's hand was coming down for the 3, and which led to a split decision of awarding the match to Anderson. And you saw Anderson kind of go out. That was like, man, I really didn't want to win that match that way. But solid rep match, solid competition, and we move into the next match of the night.
And some jerk off, of course, has got to make noise this late at night. But whatever have you, we apologize about that, guys. That's the virtue of being outdoors. But like JC said, it was a great match, and Anderson won by the skin of his teeth. I mean, if Earl Hebner saw it from any other view, he probably would have ruled it a 2 count. So we go into the next match. Crimson comes out. He is still undefeated in TNA's Impact Wrestling. He issues an open challenge. Eric Young answers this challenge alongside his TNA Knockout Tag Team Champion. Yes, you heard that right.
And his blushing bride.
And his blushing bride. They did get married inside a steel cage on Impact Wrestling, ODB. And Eric Young has control of this match early on. Crimson ends up getting control after ODB interjects herself in the match. She causes the distraction. Crimson ends up getting the win after he hits the sitting powerbomb.
Yeah, his sit-down spine buster powerbomb, whatever he calls that move. Definitely think that this match was definitely good, even though it was just thrown together at the last second. EY definitely took it to Crimson, and it was definitely different because EY is usually the one being thrown around, and for a good part of the match, he was the one doing the throwing. And at one point, once we saw him, Crimson lay his hands on ODB, we saw EY take it to the next level, but, you know, took his shorts off. He was wearing a red, white, and blue United States flag Speedo. Fans were chanting USA, and, you know, solid showing at EY, but Crimson picked up the win. I don't have anything to say bad about this match, even though that was just thrown in there at the last second.
You ever notice that sometimes in professional wrestling the fans will chant USA even though the face isn't from America, just because they're chanting against the heels country? I always thought that was pretty funny. But then we go into the next. That was a great match, by the way. Absolutely phenomenal contest. And Eric Young really, like JC said, brought it in a way he hasn't brought it in so many months. And I just hope that they continue showing more of that. And I hope, I like that he's a comic relief, but very similar to what they did with Santino Marella over in WWE. He can be comical, but he also needs to be serious at the same time. I mean, it is professional wrestling.
Yes.
He is a good competitor. Let him shine. I mean, let him shine. And then we go into the next match, Austin Aries versus Bully Ray. This was a very, very physical match. There was a lot of back and forth action. We actually ended up seeing Austin Aries attempt to move off the top rope. This was when Bully Ray knocked him off, and Austin Aries ended up being, was it the barricade or the steel steps?
Barricade.
It was the barricade. I mean, 2 massive bruises on his back, and you could tell every time he took a bump on his back, he was just absolutely writhing in pain. There was so much back and forth action. It was an incredible match. What are your thoughts?
My quick thoughts on the match. A-Double definitely bought it to Bully Ray. Bully Ray thought he was going to go in there and bully his way around to the win. It was just, you can't really say nothing bad about this match. This was one of the matches that I enjoyed as well. As a lot of you guys remember, that I've definitely enjoyed pushing of the younger talent in TNA, as well as, you know, going back and watching some of the original stuff from ROH and Full Impact Pro. And A-Double definitely bought it tonight, and I have to say that hopefully the injuries he sustained in this match, the bruising that he sustained during this match, isn't too serious, and we see him back on Impact on Thursday.
Oh, I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Actually, I assume that the Impact tapings are tomorrow night, so I'm hoping he's able to perform. But maybe he has to sit out the Monday taping, and it'll be at Tuesday, whatever have you. If we get any more information on any of the injuries that were sustained at tonight's pay-per-view, we'll provide you guys with a full update either on our website or on this channel. Then we go into the next match, Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles. This feud recently started just a few weeks ago on Impact Wrestling. These guys had a match, and within the last few weeks, also the information's come out that AJ Styles' rise to the top, at least in the storyline, has been influenced between the secret relationship between him and Dixie Carter. So this has been pretty interesting. AJ Styles was going into this match with these thoughts in his head, and Kurt Angle was just a complete pro tonight. I mean, absolutely. Schooled him with the amateur game, then schooled him with the professional game, back and forth. It was a really good back and forth match, and then we saw Kazarian and Daniels interject themselves, thus causing Kurt Angle to pick up the win.
Yes, definitely I'm not going to dwell on this match. It was definitely one of the matches of the night. Kurt Angle and AJ both bought their A game. We saw the outside interference on Kazarian and Daniels' part to help Kurt Angle. After the match, they both jumped in the ring and tried to take it to AJ, and Kurt Angle stepped in, and I have a feeling we're going to wind up seeing a tag team championship match between these two between AJ and Kurt, with AJ and Kurt and Kazarian and Daniels for the tag team championships. And
that'd be pretty interesting. Maybe instead of a rematch between Joe and Magnus and the new tag team champions at Slammiversary, we see it maybe on an Impact, kind of end that segment for right now, then have this big tag team match at Slammiversary, and then let Joe and Magnus pick it up after the pay-per-view, or pick up the feud where they left off after the pay-per-view, or a three-way dance. I mean, there could be so many options.
It was, like I said, it was definitely a great match. Don't have anything really to say negative about this. Kurt Angle and AJ bought their A game. Kurt Angle got the win tonight. And then we move into the TNA World Heavyweight Championship ladder match, RVD versus Bobby Roode.
Exactly. Bobby Roode, defending World Heavyweight Champion, going one-on-one against RVD. RVD won a match on Impact Wrestling that he got to choose the stipulation of tonight's match. He chose a ladder match. We start off the match with the TNA World title hanging high above the ring. Both these competitors brought their A game. I mean, they both took their share of sick bumps, and Robert Roode just paying more and more dues, becoming one of the best heel champions that TNA Wrestling and even the wrestling world has ever seen. Nobody plays the role like Robert Roode right now. I mean, he is one of the top heels in professional wrestling. He's a very polished talent, and tonight he proved a lot of his, as our good buddy over at Sean's View Entertainment would say, haters and naysayers, wrong. I mean, he really showed that he does have the talent. He has the in-ring ability. He is an athlete of that caliber to be able to step in the ring with a guy like an RVD. I mean, RVD is world renowned. He's fought in all the major promotions, and it was a good match. It was a really good match.
Like you said, just to add to what you said about Bobby Roode, he is 10 days shy of being TNA's longest-running world champion to date. Can't take anything away from Bobby Roode. To be honest, though, me and Brian were talking about it earlier in the day, I kind of think that the Bobby Roode storyline as champion was maybe good for maybe about 2 or 3 months, and then it started to get a little stale on to me, it got a little stale. I always thought Bobby Roode's best work was when he was in a tag team, and it's usually like that with a lot of wrestlers. You're used to seeing them as a tag team, and then they don't quite deliver in the single competition. But again, RVD going out there tonight with at his age in a ladder match and taking the sick bumps that he did and coming nearly close to winning the championship tonight. I would like to see Robert Roode and RVD again, maybe at Slammiversary, or maybe have them bring back King of the Mountain at Slammiversary.
That would be very interesting if they brought back the King of the Mountain concept, and it would be very interesting to see a rematch between these two competitors. I mean, we saw RVD hit the Rolling Thunder on Robert Roode while he was laying on top of a ladder. We saw him attempt the 5-star frog splash. Robert Roode ended up moving. He ended up eating a ladder. We saw them at the end of the match. We saw them both climbing up the ladder. Roode ended up kicking him in the face, knocking him off the ladder. He ended up hitting his head on a steel chair, thus costing him the victory in this match. And I mean, he was clawing away. He was trying to kick at this ladder to keep Robert Roode off his balance. As soon as Roode had that title belt, he fell right off. That's right, guys. Robert Roode is still the world's heavyweight champion. And further on what JC said, sometimes you do, typecast wrestlers and even actors in certain roles. You see him as a tag team competitor, or you're so used to seeing this guy in a show for 10 years, you're just used to that character. But I think Roode is, by not running as a face and by them making him a heel and by winning by any means necessary, and then just all the dirty actions like the attack on Dixie and everything he's done to solidify himself as a heel, I think he's done a really good job. And like I mentioned, I think he is, in my opinion, one of the top heels in professional wrestling. But guys, we want to get this up for you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your feedback. Please like this video, add it to your favorites, share it with your friends. Check out the official website of the FM brand at FightNationWrestling.com. Our links to our Twitters are in the description box below. Please check those out. And also the links to all the channels that make up the FM brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. My name is Brian Crazy.
I'm JC Styles.
Thank you for watching. Have a great night. Have a safe Monday morning commute, as my good friend JC would say. And we'll catch you later. Well, actually, tomorrow, when Monday Night Raw.